video of our client. So here's an agenda for today. First, we're going to give a client overview and an overview of our project and scope. After that, we'll give an introduction to our team and some of the takeaways we had from this project. And lastly, we'll go over some of our individual parts to the project and how we combine those to give Jill some recommendations that may help her in her business.
Right, so obviously our client is Crafts on Wheelz, but to give you a little bit of information about the person behind Crafts on Wheelz, that would be Jill Rajdi. Interesting about her is that she is a mother of triplets, so we know that she is a very busy lady because she also has a full-time job. So this is her like side gig that she does on the weekends. She came up with this idea because she actually wanted to get out of the corporate world and move into something to help others be the best that they can be. Michelle.
Thanks, Kristen. So to go over our project and the scope of the project, there are a few different areas that we focused on. So the first one was reviewing the marketing plan and providing feedback. The second one was analyzing pricing and discussing options to improve the profitability of the company. We considered tax implications, and we also needed to understand the implications of franchising because the final product was creating a business plan for a franchisee. For this presentation today, we are going to focus on the first 4 items on this list.
Hi, my name is Julia. I'm a team leader. So my job is communication and to help the team cooperate to make sure everybody works together with Jill.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and my 2 main focuses were to monitor project timelines and to also review some of the documents that we were going to be providing. And my takeaway from this project is really collaborating with an entrepreneur. I've never worked with someone who's created a startup company before, so it was just amazing to learn from her.
Hi everyone, my name is Jay, and I was the team organizer. And my takeaway was understanding the determined mindset of an entrepreneur. Jill has 3 kids, she has a full-time job, and she's really determined to making her business succeed. And it gave me some inspiration for when I start my own business.
I'm Kristen Martin. I was the communicator. I did most of the communication with Jill for our group, and my takeaways were working with the team and then also just seeing how a business plan comes together. All right, our marketing plan, that was the area that I focused on. We focused on how can we help Jill now, and then how can this go into her business plan for future investors or franchisees. When we first started working with Jill, she mostly pays for Google Ads. She has a budget of $300, and when that's up, she's done with her ads for the month. But some of the things that we have talked about and suggested to her as recommendations are taking advantage of more of the things that Google offers her that she doesn't have to pay for, such as the reviews, keywords that she can use, using the Google My Business features, and then following up with her customers and making sure that her customers do leave reviews for her, and also working on a referral program. So Michelle, go ahead and start pricing.
So the next thing we looked at, and the thing I focused on the most, was the pricing analysis. So this top quote I want everybody to think about: the price you set sends a message to some consumers about your business, product, or service, creating a perceived value. So Jill and her business really wanted to have her business perceived as a premium service. So having that in mind, there were a few different things that we focused on when analyzing pricing. The first one was, what's the market charging for similar types of businesses? So we decided to look at other trailer or trucking type birthday parties. We looked at craft birthday parties, and we also looked at some trampoline birthday parties as well, so that was an area where she saw people leave trampolines to come over to her business to go to her trailer. And then some of the things that we analyzed within those business models were the length of their parties, the cost cost of their parties and the number of guests that they have at their parties. So it was very interesting to see the wide range of pricing. There was charging anywhere from $120 to maybe $350. The second thing we looked at was, what does the customer want to pay? So in this section, we ended up going and polling some parents on social media to get some ideas of what does a parent want to pay. So and that was an interesting range as well. We got anywhere from about $200 to about $400 that a parent's willing to pay for their kid's birthday party. And the last thing we looked at is, what are the costs to supply the service? So we were able to get different pricing or different costs from Jill to look at, based off of the different crafts that she offers, what the cost of the supplies are and the cost to prep the craft for the party. So at the end of the day, we are recommending two different types of models, a basic model and a premium model for her pricing.
So for the after pricing and marketing analyze, develop the franchise is a good strategy for business expansion and increase the revenue income. So the franchise has four major costs: is the franchise fee, initial investment, and ongoing investment, and personal finance. To build the business, the first argument, the first step is the franchise fee. So depending on our research, we budget it will be 15,000. We include such as training fee, operation manual, and the royalty fee will be 5% of the annual net income. Franchisee can assist the company website and share the idea together, and they can use their own trailer to run the business. However, we require them to use the same trailer web in order to keep the branding consistent, because we believe a good way to expand business is to keep the product's quality and improve branding awareness. In the future, we try to increase at least 2 to 3 trailers, and each trailer is one manager and one assistant.
So for my part of the project, I helped Jill with some tax implications regarding her business, and I started with Texas sales tax and started examining business activities and compared them to relatable definitions of taxable services. And I found that none of the services that Jill's company, Crafts on Wheelz, currently provides falls under the definition of any taxable services based on the Texas Administration Code. Therefore, she wouldn't have to pay Texas sales tax. Next, I looked at car expenses and payments, and I helped Jill come up with some options, such as the actual expense method and the standard mileage method. And I found that the actual expense method is much more efficient if your major expenses have nothing to do with mileage, or else she needs to use the standard mileage method. And the last thing I looked at was her employees, and found that if you pay independent contractors, you might have to file a Form 1099 based on a list of different conditions, such as if they make over $600 a year, and gave some options to Jill on how to proceed.
So for some short recommendation, for marketing, we want a customer to see the more positive review online. And for pricing, we price 2 models for customers so they can have a different choice. For franchising, we wanted Jill to find a good person and help her running the business and keep the branding consistent. For tax, we wanted Jill to ask some accountant to get a different idea or different method.
So lastly, I'd like to thank Jill and Professor Goodrich. Jill is really working hard for her business. She has 3 kids, she has a job, and she's really efficient in getting all the materials and working with us. And we'd like to also thank Professor Goodrich for helping us out with the project. Thank you.
Okay. Right on time. You're like at 10:11, so y'all, that was perfect. Okay, let's see. I'm not going to call on everybody, but
You get extra points if we thank you.
you don't get extra points. You don't have to thank me necessarily. I just mostly want you to thank the client, but you can add me if you'd like. It's fine. But okay, let's see. Michelle, why don't you give them feedback?
That's good.
stop. Sorry, I should have stopped that. Didn't. Okay.
That's because you do introduce yourself after the
Those are hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that.
That's fine.
We did that.
Actually, I wanted them to do it that way because I want it to go that way. I want it to be the hook first, then they can introduce later. So.
Well, there was stuff in between the hook and then the introduction, though. It was kind of.
So do you think they should have introduced themselves first?
No, I feel like it should be the video, then
Introduction and then what
Okay.
happened. Yeah.
That might work better.
Put that
Sure.
before.
So they're saying if the team intro is right after the video.
That would probably work better, maybe, because then.
Done. Yeah.
And then do the agenda.
Yes. Okay.
Done. Okay.
The only thing that I would if you're gonna do it that way, you put the takeaways like at that same time. That's the only part that usually you could put the takeaways wherever you want, but maybe you could just introduce the team quickly and then you could go back to it later.
We did that on purpose because we felt like if we did the takeaways separately, it was just taking up more time, and really we're just kind of circling back on ourselves again. That's
Okay.
That's
Just
the
trying to
reason
make
why
it
we
more
did that.
efficient.
So maybe you could just move where you what you guys did and what your takeaways were up like right after the hook, and then just kind of say maybe a little bit of a lead in. We worked with, Crafts on Wheels this semester, and
Well, could we do?
I almost feel like you have
could
to
we
do a little bit.
this?
Client overview first.
Do that. Talk about Jill, and then.
That might be a
ourselves,
way to do it.
And then agenda after.
And then our agenda.
Yeah, so this-
Yeah, maybe you would just do something like the video you just saw was our client. Our client is blah blah blah, and then say who are we? We're Crafty Girlz and Jay. Jay, do this. Yeah.
His name was already on there. I did not.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Okay. No, that makes sense to maybe move it. Okay. Anything else, Michelle? Okay. Alexander, what thoughts about their presentation?
I like how it was formatted. It seems like you covered every part that was required. So you clearly targeted this area and did your research. I also like some of the work you guys put into figuring out the tax implications and things like that. So probably gonna steal a couple of your ideas and introduce them to your project.
Same.
No, I don't have anything bad to say about it. I thought it was great.
Okay. The only thing I forgot to do is ask questions. So does anyone have a question for the team after what they presented? Any question? I'll ask a question. Okay, so in your section, Jay, you mentioned about the standard mileage and the actual amounts.
Yeah.
So what was your final recommendation?
So, I said, I guess I gotta give like a lawyer answer, but I said for.
Yeah, you kind of did.
consult
That's
with
why I
her
was.
accountant. But in my email, in my email though, like I found that she has a lot of like she has a lot of different expenses because she has a separate truck for her business, but she also uses that for personal reasons. And I told her to look at like the expenses related to her business. If you need to change your tires, if you get maintenance, and compare that to the standard mileage. So the IRS gives you a certain standard mileage and see which one saves you.
Okay, so you were just telling her these were two options.
Yeah, and I gave her some examples in my email, like based on like
Uh-huh.
big example, theoretical financials. But
What do you think it would be the best way to do it?
I think actual expense. That's what I was like.
Actual's probably.
Work, though, right?
It's more work. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
actual's
she
more.
doesn't drive enough miles really.
No, but I thought actual expense would save her the most money in the end.
Okay.
Or like her actually driving, using the van or whatever she's driving to go to the client.
But so the standard mileage, it'll be like I think it was like 0.5.
It changes every year.
50 cents. Yeah, it changes every year.
But it's
But
about-
at the end of the day, they usually come out like so close, like it doesn't really matter.
I work in tax, and do a lot of this kind of stuff for small businesses and people like that, and generally, the standard mileage is more beneficial.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
But
you can
generally,
still do,
but
like,
she's
full
not
miles.
She has a lot of different like expenses related to her truck because she's towing like a big trailer. So we didn't know like the exact.
I mean, really, she would have to run, she'd have to have someone actually
Yeah.
run through it.
The numbers and see
Yeah,
what's better.
yeah. I mean,
Okay, so
some of
she
those
really
things
does
you
need
can't
to get her
really say,
accountant
yes,
to look at
right,
that, or,
Yeah. So
okay.
that's why I just said, you know, maybe consult with your accountant.
Okay.
She has
That's
one.
fine.
Yeah,
You know she has one.
She does have one?
Well, yeah, she's someone that prepares for tax returns.
I
So.
don't think
Well-
they're very good though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Is it a friend, a family member? Tell
Um,
her how to do her text.
So
people like her text.
so is the truck, like, is it only the truck, is the truck only used for the business, or is it something that they drive?
No, it's her personal car as well.
Yeah.
That's why it's a little complicated.
It's probably better to do standard mileage. I feel like that would be way easier, because then you have to like prorate insurance, you gotta
So
prorate
actual
this.
expense would be a lot more work too.
I think it would probably be better just to use the mileage rate. That's probably what I would have, I don't know, what would you say, Haley?
I would say the mileage.
Yeah, it's
We
easier.
do a lot of stuff with like realtors, and obviously they drive probably more than she does, but
I mean,
generally, people don't keep track of all the different things.
Yeah,
which,
that's why she didn't
I
have
mean,
any
you know,
information on that.
she could probably come up with the numbers, but
so much easier to do the mileage.
I had with her, I don't think that she'd want to try.
Yeah,
someone who
she
doesn't
would.
have like an accounting mind.
I feel like you can get away with more like actual
Busy
expense,
mom,
but
free
I mean at the
kids.
end of the day, it actually comes out to about the same anyways. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when you have triplets and a job and then a side job, I think she'll probably be lucky just to write down the mileage. I mean,
Does she use any apps or anything for that?
are there apps for that? I know. Have y'all ever used TaxBot? Have you heard of TaxBot? There's like a app that you can like scan. You can scan receipts and it uploads them. It's called TaxBot. I've had some of the people use it in here, but I mean, it's like if you go to the gas station, you just scan your receipt and it uploads it into your wherever somewhere.
I know QuickBooks Online, the app, it does that as well.
Yeah.
And it also, there's a widget or add-in where you can, once you know you're going on a work trip, you can be like start, and it'll automatically start tracking those miles like on your phone. And then it keeps a receipt of all.
So yeah, there may be a tool to do that, but okay. So that was one of my questions. The other question I had was on what Lou had. Let's see. Okay, it's the one where it says franchise business plan.
Mhm.
What did you mean by number 4, personal finances? I just wasn't really sure what y'all meant.
I think maybe like the personal expense or something like that.
Is that expenses of her, or if someone franchises from her?
I think it's her. It's like personal.
Okay, I just wasn't really sure I understood what y'all meant by that. Ongoing investment, personal finances, 4 major costs. Franchise fee, initial investment, ongoing investment, personal finances. I just wasn't sure I don't know if I understand what that means. Anyway, those were my questions. Do what now?
We'll review it.
Okay, just review it, that's perfect. Okay, let's see. Joanna, did I ask you to evaluate them? Thoughts? Y'all are all too nervous to do your own presentations. What did you think?
I think overall it's very good, and I think the highlight part is your team introduction that fully introduce each team members and your takeaway and what kind of roles in the teams. I like that part. And for some improvement, I think maybe for font size, you need to do something, change a little bit, but it looks like a little bit more. Yeah.
The font, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Make it,
It's like 18, we'll make it like 20.
Yeah, maybe that would help. That might be good.
Yeah.
Okay, Grant, what do you think?
I really liked the presentation. I liked the introduction with the video. Thought it added a lot and really hooked us. I think y'all were really well prepared, and I don't really have any negatives on it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else have anything they want to add? I thought this is probably one of the best first passes I've ever had in the class. So I felt like if you guys were doing, why are you saying that? You don't think it went well?
Like ever?
Really, and yes, it's probably one of the best ones
But you
because you
haven't
pretty.
seen the rest of us.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Simi's raising the stakes. Okay. No, I thought it was really good because I mean, well, you encapsulated a lot of what I'm looking for. Like, go to the first slide. One of the only things that I would like on this is that you number your slides so I can tell you what page to go to. Okay. But the video was great. You went right into it, which is exactly what I want. Even though it's weird to do that, I want you to try it because it does make a difference.
Yeah, Jay was trying to.
I know, it's so weird.
Don't talk before.
No, don't say, hey guys, we're gonna start. You know, that's what everyone does. I want people to get over that because everyone does it that way. But it didn't look like you had any confidential information that you couldn't share here. So I felt like everything here was fine. You introduced everyone on the team. You shared your takeaways. You talked about work performed. I was going to make the suggestion that you wrap it up with the recommendations, and then you guys did that. So you had the thank you. I mean, everything was pretty much here. You probably, I mean,
Can you just grade us tonight then?
Yeah.
I can grade you tonight. I mean, I can. Well, that's the way that it works. I've only had one.
We'll take the best of the two.
Yeah, you take the best of the two. I've only had one team that I've never had a team use their initial grade, but probably the highest I've ever had on the initial pass was like a 93 or something. And y'all are probably close to that because you pretty much have everything here. You had the content, you have most of the work here, the recommendations. I'd say probably on the tax stuff, I would give your advice a little. Okay. Like, I think mileage is easier. That's probably going to be your best bet. Okay. However, you could go and balance both and see. I thought it was great that you did the review on the sales tax. That was a big part that I know I asked you guys, you know, maybe there's a problem there, but y'all did that. So all of it was very good. Like the sections you did, I felt like really well put together. So I like this a lot. This is, like I said, I'll have to finish the grading on it, but if you did this for the final one with the clients here, this is perfect. I think it's pretty good. So I think moving it, like Michelle mentioned, maybe a couple of small tweaks, it's pretty close. Yeah. Okay, let's give them a round of applause. Okay.